Oh, man. In a scene epitomizing how the fascist bankster, media, government gang feel about us and the notions of respect, rights, and honest debate, the pop news darling Greta Thunberg, whatever, recently took a moment out of her globe-trotting theatrics to walk the streets of Davos, Switzerland, on the occasion of the World Economic Forum. And surprise! When independent reporters asked her honest, substantive questions about matters supposedly important to the climate cult, the now 20-year-old fearmonger extraordinaire dismissively laughed and lob-snide, non-responsive wisecracks instead. Hi everybody, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and I gotta say thanks to the work of Ezra Levant's Rebel News team, microphones and cameras caught all of this, offering what could be the most fitting example of how the globalist elite scammers view the rest of us. We, of course, being the energy-deprived, regulation-caged, privacy-invaded serfs they seem to think are supposed to be populating the bottom of their technocratic pyramid. The scene played out in almost Kafkaesque fashion as the crowd-funded, voluntarily supported Levant, Australia Bureau Chief Avi Yemeni, UK Rebel News reporter Callum Smiles, and Deacon Father Calvin Robinson walked beside Thunberg and a gaggle of fawning pop media members to actually ask her real questions. After Levant, Smiles, and probably a big-name network reporter, not quite sure, asked 4 questions that got absolutely no response or even any acknowledgement from Greta, Smiles appeared to break through to her with this.
How did you get here today? What was your climate footprint in traveling here?
A legit question. In fact, his question offered Thunberg an opportunity to tell people how she somehow carries on all her world-spanning sojourns without breaching her mythology about evil carbon emissions. It's a chance for her to offer constructive suggestions to allies who might want to learn from her great climate care modus operandi. And finally, she responded with a laugh. And not just a laugh, an extended, mocking, childish giggle. Of course, how one perceives such a kid-like response from the woman who now is 2 years older than many of the soldiers around the world is subjective. But Thunberg arguably is the most famous climate activist in history. And she's been at it for at least half a decade. Surely an honest question like that could engender an honest, respectful reply. If you're a member of the narrative protective elite, however, a member of the corporate government cabal who've enjoyed the complicit, unquestioning publicity of dinosaur media, government-favored conglomerates, and collectivist politicians, well, of course, you don't have to respect anybody. That is not the point. Don't question them. That is what they're implying.
Greta, how do you feel about discussing climate change with the delegates here when nearly all of them take private jets?
Another valuable, substantive, reality-based question, especially if one truly believes the carbon output fear-mongering. And yet, no reply. So Smiles tried a different tack, asking,
do you think at least the fact these delegates take private jets is a bad thing against, what you believe in?
Dead air. Why not respond? Thunberg has shown absolute ferocity when targeting private property and consumers and politicians who don't impose draconian restrictions on energy sales and use. Of course, all of that would add to the burdens in our lives. She seems to enjoy that kind of concept. Why not comment on the World Economic Forum conference hosts and attendees being some of the biggest climate so-called hypocrites in the history of mankind? Of course, one can't criticize Thunberg. Her family has told people she has Asperger's, which makes her socially awkward. Yet for years, she's taken the world stage, appeared on television with friendly interviewers, chatted amiably with German police as they all posed for photos during her recent arrest. It seems reasonable to expect from this seasoned climate alarmist a modicum of respect and mindful replies. But no, in fact, one has to reiterate, we can't question Greta. And doing so can be depicted as badgering a woman who can be socially awkward when asked substantive questions. When Smiles asked her why these climate-concerned Davos visitors couldn't conduct their conference like so many of us have had to do via Zoom.
All of this could be done via Zoom, so surely you should be encouraging all the delegates here, especially the likes of US Special Envoy John Kerry for Special Envoy for Climate Change. Surely you should be saying to these people, you should be doing this via Zoom with a much smaller carbon footprint, surely?
Levant tried a different approach.
Greta, energy prices in Europe have never been higher. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Given that people in Germany began scavenging for wood to heat their homes, that the national political class across Europe are starting to threaten energy rationing and punishment for the sin of simply taking a warm shower, one might think Thunberg would exhibit some concern for her European neighbors. All she offered in response was a tart-looking smile, and she sustained her ineffable affectations, peppered with responses of childish laughter. For, of course, as she walked, she packed down many carbon paces as the others moved alongside her on the snowy sidewalk, snow caused, no doubt, by the Goliath of anthropogenic climate change, until Levant asked her,
Have you ever been on a private jet?
All the time, yes.
Which not only drips with the aforementioned sarcasm, but it also deflects at a moment when she could offer a factual answer, even to calm any fears her supporters might have about that particular issue. Robinson earnestly followed Levant by saying,
This is your opportunity to stop and tell us what you care about and what you're fighting against. You seem to be joining the establishment, not fighting them anymore.
Precisely right, and she could answer with great distinction. But of course, no. More laughter, comments about, I have many private jets of my own, and flip attitude, until finally, to Robinson, she offered,
I don't take anything seriously, so I laugh all the time, so don't take it personally.
Okay.
Well, that sure does come as a surprise. One might have thought Thunberg was serious in 2019 when she became famous for her screeching, "How dare you!" histrionics at a UN conference.
How dare you!
That well-publicized moment, of course, was when she accused evil carbon users of destroying her future. And soon thereafter, one would have thought she got so into it that she purportedly began devoting much of the time she could have been in school to instead fighting the dread beast climate change. If she believed the World Economic Forum invite was important enough to inspire her to visit Davos and rub elbows among the special people, well, one might have thought that laughing at valid questions from honest reporters might seem incongruous and appear elitist beyond belief.
I mean, you laugh about this, but surely if it's such a big issue, it's surely no laughing matter. I mean, this is an opportunity for you to try and get people who don't agree with your message to try and see it from your side of the view and to maybe change their ways, surely?
This extracted her longest interaction, another empty response not only implying that her trip to Davos wasn't serious, which of course calls into question her hierarchy of importance when it comes to energy use for travel, but it also exposed her final defense card.
Yeah, I wish I could tell that to myself sometimes to take things more seriously, but I'm just a young person. I tend to laugh at most things.
Not funny. This shameful example of sarcasm, disrespect, deflection, non-engagement, excuse manufacturing, and double standards would destroy the credibility of anyone who honestly wanted to engage in debate and voluntary interaction. But Thunberg's entire modus operandi always has been to toss around emotion-based rhetoric when it can get camera time, to pose in stunt protests designed to push dangerous anti-freedom legislation, to offer tactical, on-the-fly, and completely insupportable claims when they serve the moment and the emotion, and to dodge any real attempt to engage with the people she wants to push around via the government. And all of it is done with a clear, obvious disdain for the little people she accuses of being ignorant climate destroyers, the people she wants to see strangled of energy and of better chances in their lives, the people she wants the government corporate plotters at Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum to control, right down to their food and the temperature of their bath water. Her insufferable, fact-lacking treatment of the real reporters in Davos is the perfect reflection of precisely how the whole enormous cohort of world government elitists view the rest of us. We are to be ordered around, managed, and controlled. And of course, if we speak up, well, they'll just laugh. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Please feel free to like and subscribe, especially if you are at Rumble. As I mentioned before, Rumble has a great new look. And of course, they're adding new things that you can do there almost all the time. It's very impressive. And they don't censor us there. So find us there. Find us, yes, at YouTube, where, yes, they do censor us sometimes. And of course, the MRC-TV page at Facebook is always hopping. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and over at Parler and on TikTok. And please visit MRCTV.org. MRCTV.org to find out what the whole team is doing. And when you're there, please consider donating to the Media Research Center. Thanks so much for watching. You can find me on Gab at Gardner Goldsmith and on Twitter at Gard Goldsmith. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.